The night the river whispered Chiamaka's name, the moon refused to shine. People in Obodoma would later argue about that night. Some said the moon hid out of fear. Others said it was a warning. But Chiamaka herself never forgot the strange silence that covered the land. The kind of silence that makes your heart beat louder than drums at a festival. Once upon a time in the city of Obodoma, a peaceful town surrounded by thick forests and a sacred river, lived a young woman named Chiamaka. She was known by everyone, not because she was loud or proud, but because she carried the shadow and light of a great woman. Her mother, Mama Chiamaka, was the village healer. Mama Chiamaka was not taught in any school. She could not read long books or write letters, yet kings respected her words. Doctors from far places had come secretly to see how she worked, but they always left confused. She did not use sharp tools or strange machines. She used leaves, roots, calm words, and a wisdom that felt older than time itself. By just looking at a person, Mama Chiamaka could tell what was wrong. If someone came with a swollen leg, she knew whether it was from poison, sickness, or spiritual trouble. If a married woman came crying without speaking, Mama Chiamaka already knew whether the problem was barrenness, an unfaithful husband, or fear planted by wicked people. Even men, proud men who never shared feelings, would kneel before her and speak like children. She never abused her power. She never used it to fight anyone. She never asked for money more than people could give. She was calm, humble, and gentle. That was why Obodoma loved her. Chiamaka grew up beside her mother, following her everywhere. As a small girl, she helped fetch water to wash herbs. As she grew older, she learnt the names of trees, the meaning of dreams, and the language of silence. Mama Chiamaka did not rush her. She taught her slowly, saying, "Wisdom is not forced, it grows." People often said Chiamaka would become greater than her mother. Then one season, Mama Chiamaka fell sick. The sickness was strange. It was not like anything she had healed before. For the first time, the healer could not heal herself. She smiled until her last breath, holding Chiamaka's hand, whispering words only Chiamaka heard. After her burial, Obodoma cried like a child that lost its mother. Chiamaka was young, but the people turned to her. At first, she was afraid, but slowly what she had learnt began to work through her hands. She healed fevers. She stopped strange dreams. She helped women conceive. She calmed men whose minds were broken by fear. Just like her mother, she never failed. Respect followed her everywhere. Even elders bowed their heads when she spoke. Children greeted her with songs. Chiamaka felt proud, but she told herself it was not pride, it was responsibility. Still, something quietly began to grow inside her, something she did not notice at first. Then one market day, everything changed. The market of Obodoma was always noisy. Traders shouted prices, goats cried, children ran around chasing dust. That day, a woman stood in the middle of the market shaking, her voice loud with fear and excitement. She shouted that death had almost taken her. People gathered. She said she was passing near the sacred stream when a snake bit her leg. No one was around. The poison entered her body quickly. She fell down crying, waiting to die. With her last strength, she cried to the gods of the land to save her. Then something strange happened. She said a woman came out of the river. Not swimming, not walking from the bush. The woman rose from the water like mist taking shape. She was spotless, glowing, her skin shining like early morning light. She touched the bitten leg. Light moved from her hand into the wound. The pain stopped. The poison left. She stood up healed. Before she could thank the woman disappeared back into the river. The market went quiet. People whispered. Some laughed nervously. Some shook their heads. Some said those were stories of ancestors, not stories of today. But the woman showed her leg. No wound, no scar. The story spread like fire in dry grass. When Chiamaka heard the news, her heart tightened. She smiled in public, but inside, anger burned. Who healed her? Who dared to heal in Obodoma without her? That night, Chiamaka could not sleep. She remembered her mother's words about humility, but another voice spoke louder, telling her she was special, chosen, the only one. She wanted to see this woman of the river. The next morning, before sunrise, Chiamaka went to the river. She sat quietly, watching the water, greeting it the way her mother taught her. Nothing happened. Birds drank, women fetched water, the river flowed normally. She returned the next day, and the next. Days turned into weeks. Nothing. Impatience grew. Then one night, Chiamaka slept and dreamed. In the dream, the world was white and quiet. A woman stood before her, so beautiful that Chiamaka's breath caught. Her skin shone like water under sunlight. Her eyes were deep and kind. Her voice sounded like flowing river. She said she was the goddess of River Obodoma. She said she healed the snake-bitten woman because Chiamaka was not there. She said Chiamaka was her child and had been doing well. She said both of them could work together to protect the land. Then she vanished. Chiamaka woke up shaking. Fear and excitement mixed inside her. The next morning, she went to the river and called out. The river moved. The goddess appeared, gentle and calm, asking Chiamaka what she wanted. Chiamaka's heart beat fast. She did not ask for wisdom. She did not ask for more grace. She asked the goddess to give her all her powers and disappear. Silence fell. The goddess laughed softly, not in anger, but in sadness. She forgave Chiamaka and told her to go home, promising to always be with her. But Chiamaka did not feel forgiven. She felt insulted, and that was when her respect turned into pride, and pride began its slow walk toward destruction. The river was calm, but Chiamaka's heart was not. From the day the river goddess laughed and forgave her, something inside Chiamaka broke quietly. She returned home that morning with her head high, greeting people as usual, healing the sick, advising the worried. To everyone in Obodoma, nothing had changed, but inside her, a storm had started. Whenever people praised her, her chest swelled. Whenever they said, Chiamaka is just like her mother, she smiled, but deep inside, she wanted to hear something more. She wanted them to say, no one else heals in this land but Chiamaka. Yet the story of the river goddess refused to die. People still whispered about the beautiful woman of the river. Some began to drop small offerings by the stream. Some mothers warned their children not to insult the river. Each time Chiamaka heard such things, anger rose in her throat like bitter kola. One evening, as she sat alone grinding herbs, an old man came to her hut. He was one of the oldest elders in Obodoma. His back bent like a tired tree. After greeting her, he spoke slowly. He warned her. He said power shared is not power lost. He said the river has always protected Obodoma, even before her mother was born. He said she should not allow jealousy to blind her. Chiamaka listened quietly, but her eyes were cold. After the old man left, she threw away the herbs she was grinding. Her hands shook. She told herself she was not jealous. She was only protecting her place, protecting her mother's legacy. That was the lie she fed her heart. Soon after, she began to visit medicine men and women within the kingdom. Some lived in deep forests, some lived near hills, some were feared by children. Chiamaka went to them secretly at night, covering her face. She asked them one question. How can I take the power of the river goddess? Every single one of them refused. Some shouted at her, some cried, some warned her that the river goddess was not an enemy. Some told her that her mother's power came from the river itself. One elderly woman held her hand and begged her to stop, saying the river goddess was patient but not weak. Chiamaka left them all angry. She told herself they were afraid, that they were jealous of her greatness, that she needed someone stronger. That was when she decided to leave Obodoma. She told the people she was going on a short spiritual journey to strengthen herself. They supported her, bringing gifts and prayers. Some even cried, afraid something bad might happen to her. As she walked away from Obodoma, the river flowed quietly behind her, as if watching. Chiamaka traveled far, crossing lands where people spoke differently and worshipped darker powers. She arrived at a distant kingdom known for dangerous spiritual practices. There, she met a powerful spiritualist, a man whose eyes never blinked properly. He listened to her story without surprise. He smiled. He told her it was possible to take the power of a goddess. He said gods could be destroyed if one had enough courage and sacrifice. He promised her that after the river goddess was destroyed, all healing power would rest in her alone. Chiamaka's heart jumped with joy. She did not ask the price. The spiritualist demanded strange sacrifices, nights of rituals, pain, blood, isolation. Chiamaka endured them all, telling herself it was worth it. Each ritual hardened her heart a little more. Each chant pushed her further from the girl who once followed her mother humbly. Unknown to her, something else was happening in Obodoma. People began to fall sick in strange ways. Chiamaka's healing started to fail. Herbs that once worked stopped working. Dreams came to her, dark dreams of water turning red, of her mother crying silently. She ignored them. The spiritualist finally said the time had come. They would go to River Obodoma together. They returned at night. The moon was thin and weak. The air was heavy. As they approached the river, the water began to move violently. Waves rose like angry spirits. Trees shook. Animals ran. The river was warning them. The spiritualist laughed and continued chanting. Suddenly, the river rose, not flooding, rising like a living thing. A loud sound filled the air like 1,000 drums beating at once. The water chased them, pushing them back from the bank. They ran, barely escaping. Chiamaka fell and hurt her leg, but she stood up. Her eyes burned. She refused to stop. She told the spiritualist they would return. That night, as she slept, the river goddess appeared to her again, this time not smiling. Her eyes were full of sadness and disappointment. She begged Chiamaka to stop, reminding her of her mother, reminding her of the bond between them. Chiamaka woke up screaming, but pride had already sealed her ears. She decided there would be no turning back. The river roared before anyone saw it rise. That night, Obodoma slept, unaware that its fate was walking toward the sacred river with two stubborn hearts filled with darkness. Dogs howled without reason. Frogs went silent. Even the wind refused to blow, as if the land itself was holding its breath. Chiamaka stood at the riverbank with the strange spiritualist beside her. Her once calm face was now hard, her eyes sharp with hunger. The pain in her injured leg did not matter to her. The warnings of elders did not matter. The tears of the river goddess in her dream did not matter. Only one thought filled her mind: I must be the only healer. The spiritualist began to chant again, his voice rough and heavy. He threw strange powders into the river. He called the goddess by secret names meant to insult and weaken her. Chiamaka joined him, repeating words she barely understood. At first, nothing happened. Then the river stopped flowing. The water became still, too still, like a dead thing pretending to be alive. A deep fear entered Chiamaka's chest, but she pushed it aside. She stepped closer, raising her hands, ready to claim power that was never meant to be taken. Suddenly, the river exploded. Water rose like a wall, taller than trees, wider than the market square. The sound was not just water, it was anger, sorrow, and judgment mixed together. From within the rising river, the goddess appeared, no longer gentle, no longer smiling. She was beautiful still, but terrible to behold. Her eyes shone like lightning on water. Her voice shook the ground. She called Chiamaka by her full name, the name her mother used only in serious moments. She reminded her of Mama Chiamaka's humility. She reminded her that every healing done through that family came from the river's mercy. She reminded her that power was given to serve, not to rule. For a brief moment, Chiamaka hesitated. Tears filled her eyes, but the spiritualist screamed at her not to listen, shouting that fear was the last weapon of dying gods. He pushed her forward. That push sealed their fate. The river moved, not like water, like a living judge.
The ground beneath them broke open. Water wrapped around their legs, cold and strong. Chiamaka screamed, calling her mother's name, calling the goddess she once insulted. The goddess looked at her with deep sorrow. Then the river swallowed them. The water closed gently, as if nothing had happened. By morning, Obodo-Oma woke to strange silence. People noticed the river was calm again, but its color was deeper, richer. Chiamaka's hut was empty. No sign of her, no sign of the spiritualist. Only her walking stick lay by the riverbank. The elders understood. They gathered the people and told them the truth. They said Chiamaka allowed pride to blind her. They said greed chased away wisdom. They said even the greatest gift can turn into a curse when the heart is no longer clean. The people cried. They mourned Chiamaka not as a villain, but as a warning. Soon after, a quiet family in Obodo-Oma began to show signs of healing power. They were humble farmers, unknown, respectful of the river. The elders recognized the signs. The power had moved, just as the river goddess willed. The river continued to flow. Children played by its banks again. Women fetched water without fear, but no one ever forgot Chiamaka's story. Till today, elders still say when the river sounds angry at night, it is reminding Obodo-Oma of the girl who wanted to be greater than the source of her gift. Moral of the story: greed blinds the wise. Pride destroys the gifted, and power taken by force never ends in peace.